The galaxy was not at peace. It only pretended to be. Trade routes were busy, planets shone with bright cities, and leaders of many species spoke about harmony in the council hall. But far away, beyond the edge of known space, something dangerous was moving. A fleet, just one fleet, was cutting through the stars like a blade. One fleet should not have been enough to shake the galaxy. But this was not an ordinary fleet. Wherever it arrived, worlds fell silent. Whole populations disappeared. Space stations turned into drifting graves. No army had stopped them, no defense had slowed them. Even great empires with powerful warships fell like paper before fire. The first reports were ignored. Leaders thought it was false news, some small border war. But then the survivors came. Refugees arrived in broken ships, eyes filled with horror. They spoke of skies burning red, of towers collapsing, of screams that did not end. They spoke of an enemy that never negotiated, never paused, never spared. The Council of Worlds gathered in fear. It was supposed to be the strongest place in the galaxy, where leaders could speak with confidence. But now the chamber was filled with silence. Each delegate watched the great display at the center of the hall, showing the fleet's path. Every hour it consumed another system. Every hour the danger grew closer. "They are unstoppable," whispered the delegate from the Silver Colonies, his thin fingers clutching the table. "We must surrender before they come. If we bow, maybe they will let us live." Others shook their heads, but no one spoke with strength. Fear was choking them. The chamber was full of leaders, yet no one felt like a leader anymore. Then a new voice rose, sharp and cold. It came from the Koresh representative, a scarred veteran of many wars. His eyes burned as he spoke. "Fools, they are not here to let you live. They do not take slaves. They do not build empires. They erase. When their fleet arrives, you do not kneel, you vanish." The words struck the chamber like thunder. Some lowered their eyes. Others whispered in panic. Everyone knew he was right. A quiet voice broke the tension. It came from the far end of the table, from a small figure dressed in plain black robes. He was not large, not powerful looking, but when he spoke, his words carried across the room. "What if Earth answers?" The hall froze. For a long moment, there was no reaction. Then, nervous laughter spread through the room. Some delegates laughed hard, too hard, like beings on the edge of despair. "Earth?" scoffed the Orishar delegate, feathers shaking as he leaned forward. "The humans are quiet. They keep to themselves. They guard their little blue planet and let the galaxy turn without them. Do you truly believe Earth would fight for us?" But the small figure did not sit down. His eyes scanned the room, calm and steady. "Do you not remember?" he asked softly. The laughter stopped. Every species in that hall remembered. The stories had been told for centuries, whispered in military schools and hidden in history records. When humans fought, they did not stop. When humans bled, they only grew fiercer. When humans were cornered, they became something terrifying, something no enemy forgot. "They are reckless," said one delegate quietly. "They are dangerous. Even when they win, they leave destruction in their wake. That is why they stay silent now. They do not want to be drawn into another war." "Or," the robed figure answered, "they are only waiting for a reason to rise again." The chamber trembled with unease. Humanity had always been a mystery to the galaxy. Young compared to ancient species, yet always rising faster than expected. Quiet for decades, yet still feared by those who remembered. Many had convinced themselves Earth was weaker now, softened by time. But others feared the truth, that Earth had only grown stronger in silence. Suddenly, a warning alarm echoed across the chamber. The display in the center updated. Another system had fallen. Another world had gone dark. The alien fleet was moving closer. Panic spread. Some shouted for surrender. Others demanded immediate defense. The council was breaking apart, each voice desperate, none with hope. And yet, one thought was growing in their minds, dangerous, frightening, but impossible to ignore. If Earth came, if humanity truly rose again, the alien fleet might be stopped. But would the galaxy survive the fire that came with them? The small ambassador looked across the room and saw fear in every face. Not fear of the alien fleet, that fear was already certain. This was something deeper. This was fear of Earth. Because everyone in that chamber knew one thing. When humans marched to war, they were not saviors. They were storms. And now the galaxy faced a terrible question. Would Earth remain silent? Or would the storm finally break across the stars? The council chamber had never felt so heavy. It was built to impress, to show unity of the galaxy, strength of many worlds standing together. The walls were carved with golden patterns, the ceiling painted with stars. But tonight, none of that mattered. The great chamber felt like a cage, and inside it sat frightened leaders who had no idea how to save themselves. The alien fleet was still moving closer. Each hour, more systems fell. Each hour, the red line on the display crept toward the heart of the galaxy. The delegates spoke loudly, but their voices carried no power. They sounded like children fighting in the dark. "We must send our fleets now," shouted the Archon commander, his tall frame shaking with anger. "If we wait, they will devour everything. We cannot sit here while our people die." "And what good will that do?" hissed the minister of the Silver Colonies. "Your fleets will burn just like ours. One fleet destroyed 3 of our strongest worlds in a single night. Do you want to waste more lives for nothing?" The chamber filled with shouting. Some called for war, others for surrender, but no one had an answer that could bring hope. The truth was clear to everyone. The galaxy had grown soft. For centuries, they had lived in trade and peace. They had forgotten how to fight against a true enemy. The Koresh ambassador rose slowly. His scaled body carried scars of old battles, but his voice was steady. "You all fear death. I do not blame you, but surrender is death as well. The invaders leave no survivors. They are not conquerors. They are erasers. The choice is not life or death. The choice is how you face death." A silence spread across the chamber. His words were true, and that truth cut deep. Then the robed ambassador spoke again, his voice calm but dangerous. "There is still one path. Call for Earth." Murmurs rippled through the delegates. Some whispered in fear, others in disbelief. The word Earth was heavy. It carried memories, legends, and warnings. "They will not answer," said the Orishar delegate, shaking his feathers. "Humans care only for their own planet. They abandoned the galaxy long ago." "Or," the robed figure replied, "they were simply waiting for the moment we would need them most." The delegates shifted uneasily. Many remembered the last great war, when humanity had fought against impossible odds. They had seen humans unleash fire across the stars. Some remembered how human soldiers looked at battle, not with fear, but with something darker, something burning. Even in victory, humanity had terrified its allies. "Even if they answer," another delegate argued, "they will not save us. They are dangerous. Their armies are merciless. If they fight for us, the enemy may die, but so will half our worlds." That was the true fear. The alien fleet was terrifying, yes, but humanity's power was a different kind of terror. When humans rose, they did not stop at defense. They crushed their enemies until nothing was left. The galaxy had not forgotten that. The chamber descended into chaos again. Voices rose, accusing, blaming, begging. Some shouted that calling for Earth would doom them all. Others screamed that without Earth, they were already doomed. The sound of their fear echoed against the golden walls. And then silence. A new signal flashed across the display. Another system had fallen. The refugees' cries filled the chamber as broken transmissions played. Screams, fire, silence. One by one, the voices cut out. The delegates sat frozen, their fear written across their faces. None wanted to admit it, but they all knew the truth now. No fleet could stand against the invaders. No alliance, no treaty, no defense. Finally, the Koresh ambassador broke the silence. His voice was low, but it carried through the chamber like steel. "We can argue forever. The truth is simple. Either we call for Earth, or we wait here for our deaths." The room stayed silent. Every leader felt the weight of those words. Some lowered their heads. Some clenched their fists. Some whispered prayers. At last, the council leader, an old being with skin like pale stone, stood. His voice trembled, but his eyes were firm. "Very well. We will send the call. If Earth answers, perhaps there is hope. If they remain silent—" He paused, breathing heavily. "Then may the stars remember us." The chamber dimmed as the ancient communication array was activated. A message was prepared, simple and desperate. It carried the words of a galaxy on the edge of death. "To Earth, the enemy comes. One fleet destroys us all. If you still remember the galaxy, if you still hold strength, come. We beg you, come." The message was sent into the void. The delegates watched the stars, waiting for an answer. None of them spoke, but each of them thought the same thing. If Earth answered, would it bring salvation? Or would it bring a storm greater than the one already upon them? The call had been sent. Across the stars, the desperate message from the council sped toward a small blue planet, Earth. But no one knew if it would be heard. No one knew if it would be answered. The galaxy held its breath. While they waited, the alien fleet did not stop. Kept moving forward, devouring everything in its path. The invaders did not speak. They sent no warnings, no demands. They simply arrived, burned, and erased. It was as if they wanted the galaxy empty, silent, and dead. The council watched the red line creep closer to their heart worlds. Every hour brought worse news. Refugee ships crowded into council space, begging for safety. Their voices cracked with fear. They carried children who had seen their homes burn, parents who had lost everything, soldiers who had abandoned hopeless battles. Then came the moment everyone feared. The alien fleet entered a council world's orbit. The planet of Relora, a shining jewel with bright oceans and great cities, was suddenly under shadow. The fleet descended like a storm of black knives. The people of Relora looked up and saw the sky darken with ships. They screamed. The defense fleets launched, but their courage lasted only minutes. Alien fire tore through their ships like paper. Whole armadas burned before they could even fire back. The council chamber filled with cries as live transmissions came through. Screens showed burning towers, streets filled with panic, oceans boiling under bombardment. The voices of the citizens echoed across the chamber. "They are here. Everything is burning. Please help us." And then, one by one, the voices were cut off. The chamber fell into silence. Many delegates could not even look at the screen. Others wept openly. One fleet was enough to make the galaxy tremble, and now the council saw with their own eyes why. At that moment, a strange signal appeared. A new transmission, faint and filled with static, blinked into life. First, no one understood it. The council technicians worked quickly, pulling it out of the noise, until the words became clear. "This is Earth Command. Stand firm." The chamber froze. The words were simple, but they carried power. Every delegate turned to one another in shock. Some gasped. Others whispered. The message repeated, steady, strong. "This is Earth Command. Stand firm." For the first time in weeks, hope flickered in the hearts of the galaxy. But fear remained. What if the humans were too late? What if the humans had grown weaker in their silence? What if their armies could not stand against the terror now burning Relora? The alien fleet continued its attack, ignoring the faint transmission. Their warships moved closer to the planet's largest city, preparing for final destruction. Families gathered in shelters, holding each other, praying to gods who never answered. Soldiers stood at their posts, knowing they could not win but refusing to leave. Then something happened. The stars above Relora rippled. The void of space twisted, and new shadows appeared. At first, the citizens thought more invaders had come. But these ships were different. Larger, darker, deadlier. The human fleet had arrived. They did not enter with noise or fireworks. They came like hunters, silent, precise, controlled. The black hulls of their warships reflected no light. The sight alone made the council delegates shiver. The alien fleet turned to meet them, confident, arrogant. They had never known defeat. Why should they fear this new arrival? But those who remembered the old wars whispered in trembling voices, "This is how humanity fights." On the planet's surface, the citizens lifted their eyes and saw hope for the first time. In the middle of fire and destruction, the sky now carried new giants. Some cried with relief. Some fell to their knees. Others whispered, "The humans have come." The council chamber exploded in chaos. Some shouted with joy, others with fear. Delegates argued if this was salvation or the beginning of something worse. Because everyone knew one thing: when humanity came to war, they did not come gently. As the first human warship moved into firing position, the council leader whispered words that no recording device caught, but those near him would never forget. "One fleet made us tremble. But now, the galaxy may tremble for another reason." The human fleet lit the dark with its first strike. And the true battle was about to begin. The first human ship appeared like a shadow across the stars. It was larger than the alien destroyers, built of dark metal that seemed to drink the light around it. More followed, one after another, until the sky above Relora was filled with shapes no one had seen for decades. The people on the surface watched in silence. At first, they could not believe it. Then whispers spread through the burning cities. Humans are here." The words gave strength to those who had lost all hope. Inside the council chamber, every delegate leaned forward. The display showed human warships moving into formation. They did not rush. They did not scatter. They moved like predators, slow and sure, as if they already knew the kill was theirs. "What are they waiting for?" muttered the Orphan delegate nervously. His feathers twitched. "Why don't they attack?" The Koresh ambassador narrowed his eyes. "They are studying the enemy. Humans never waste a strike. When they strike, it is final." The alien fleet did not hesitate. They turned their weapons toward the newcomers, confident and unafraid. To them, these were just more targets, another set of planets to burn. Their ships surged forward like a storm, ready to erase humanity just as they had erased countless others. But the humans did not retreat. They held their positions silent and steady, until the moment came. Then, with terrifying precision, they moved. The first volley of human fire cut across the void. It was not wild, not scattered. Every shot hit its mark. 3 alien destroyers exploded at once, their burning fragments lighting up the black sky. The galaxy watched in stunned silence. For the first time, the invincible fleet had been wounded. The aliens roared back, launching a storm of plasma fire and missiles. Space itself seemed to burn. Entire skies turned white with energy. Citizens on the surface looked up, believing no ship could survive such fire. But the human fleet moved differently. Their ships weaved through the storm, their formations tight, their responses perfect. Every defense shield shimmered with power, absorbing what it could. Every evasive maneuver was timed with deadly accuracy. Where another fleet would have scattered and broken, the humans held their line. "They fight like one mind," whispered the council leader, unable to hide his awe. "Every ship moves as if guided by the same hand." The battle above Relora became a dance of fire and shadow. Alien warships pressed forward with rage, but for every human ship they struck, 3 of their own fell. The humans did not fight for survival. They fought for dominance. On the ground, soldiers and civilians stared at the skies in disbelief. A young Reloran girl, huddled in a shelter with her mother, pointed to the heavens as a massive alien battleship exploded in two. "Mama," she whispered, "the humans are not afraid." But in the council chamber, hope was mixed with dread. The humans were powerful, yes, but they were also dangerous. The delegates watched the precision, the ruthless efficiency, the cold silence of the human fleet, and a thought began to grow in their minds. What if this power turned against us one day? The Orishar delegate voiced what many feared. "We may survive the invaders," he said, his feathers trembling. "But at what cost? What storm have we unleashed?" No one answered him. Their eyes remained fixed on the display, where the humans continued their relentless assault. The alien commander, furious at the unexpected resistance, ordered his dreadnoughts forward. Massive ships, each the size of cities, unleashed their full power. Explosions rippled across the battlefield. For a moment, even the humans seemed pressured. And then Earth showed what it had truly brought. From behind the main line, a ship emerged unlike any other. It was vast, darker than the void itself, its surface covered with strange glowing lines. Council members gasped. No one had ever seen such a vessel before. The human flagship, its weapons activated with a low, terrible hum that seemed to shake even the chamber on the distant council world. When it fired, an alien dreadnought simply ceased to exist. No explosion, no wreckage, just silence and dust. The council chamber erupted in chaos. Some cheered wildly, others sat frozen in fear. One delegate whispered, "That is not a warship, that is a warning." In orbit, the battle was turning. The once invincible alien fleet found itself breaking. Commanders shouted, weapons fired wildly, formations fell apart. But the humans pressed forward, their ships carving through the enemy like blades. For the first time, the galaxy saw something even more terrifying than the invaders. It saw what Earth had become after decades of silence. As the last volley cut through another alien ship, the council chamber fell into silence again. Delegates looked at each other, their faces pale. Yes, the humans had arrived. Yes, they had saved Relora. But deep in their hearts, every leader knew the truth. The galaxy had called for help, and Earth had answered. But the army that came was not just dangerous to their enemies. It was dangerous to everyone. The sky above Relora was no longer just a battlefield. It was chaos turned into fire and steel. Alien warships and human vessels clashed in a storm that shook the stars themselves. The citizens on the planet's surface could see the battle as streaks of burning light across the heavens, like angry gods throwing fire at one another. The alien fleet had never known defeat. Their commanders barked orders with pride, convinced that victory was still theirs. Their dreadnoughts pressed forward, larger than mountains, their weapons tearing the void apart. "Crush them!" one alien captain shouted. "Show these humans their place." But the humans did not back down. They advanced with cold focus, their fleet moving as one body. Where the aliens were loud, the humans were silent. Where the aliens raged, the humans calculated. Every movement of the human ships was sharp, precise, and deadly. A massive alien destroyer tried to break through the human line, its cannons blazing. For a moment, the void lit bright as if a star had exploded. But then 3 human cruisers moved in perfect formation, striking from different angles. Within seconds, the alien ship split apart, its burning wreckage drifting like broken bones. In the council chamber, the delegates watched with wide eyes. Some cheered each alien loss, unable to hide their relief. Others sat frozen, whispering prayers, because the sight of humanity's power was as frightening as it was inspiring. The Koresh ambassador spoke softly, almost to himself. "This is not war. This is extermination." The alien commanders grew desperate. Their pride turned into panic as one ship after another was destroyed. But they still had their great weapons, their dreadnoughts. Colossal machines, each carrying enough firepower to flatten a planet, surged toward the human fleet. One dreadnought unleashed its fury. A beam of pure energy tore through space, cutting across 3 human cruisers. For a moment, silence filled the chamber as those ships vanished in fire. Delegates gasped. The humans could bleed after all. But Earth did not falter. Instead, their flagship moved forward. The massive vessel, black as midnight, locked onto the alien dreadnought. Its weapons glowed with a strange, almost unnatural light. When it fired, the alien behemoth vanished in a flash of white, reduced to dust before its captain could even scream. The council chamber fell quiet. No one spoke. No one breathed. They had never seen such power. On the planet's surface, a Reloran soldier stood on the ruins of his city and watched the sky. He had thought death was certain. Now, he whispered to himself, "The humans fight like death itself has taken form." Still, the aliens did not retreat. Their pride would not allow it. "We are eternal," their commander roared across the fleet's comms. We cannot fall to these primitives. The aliens threw everything they had into one last push. Dozens of ships surged forward, their weapons lighting the void. It was not strategy anymore, it was desperation. The humans answered with silence. Their ships formed a wall of steel and shadow. The first alien ships to hit the line exploded instantly. The rest were trapped in a storm of human fire. The clash was brutal. Entire fleets vanished in minutes. The void filled with debris, drifting bodies, burning fragments of steel. But as the smoke cleared, only one side remained standing. The alien fleet, once proud and invincible, was breaking. Their formations scattered. Captains screamed in disbelief. Soldiers begged for orders that never came. The invaders who had made the galaxy tremble were now the ones trembling. And humanity did not stop. Human boarding ships launched from the fleet, attaching themselves to surviving alien dreadnoughts. Soldiers in dark armor stormed the enemy vessels, moving with merciless efficiency. They did not fight to wound. They fought to finish. Alien screams echoed across the comms as ship after ship was taken. In the council chamber, a terrible realization spread. The aliens were losing. Humanity was winning. But the way humans fought, cold, ruthless, and absolute, made the delegates shiver. The galaxy had wanted salvation, but what had they brought upon themselves? The Orphan delegate whispered, his feathers trembling. We called for help, and we summoned a storm. The Koresh ambassador only nodded grimly. Yes, and now the storm will decide how much of the galaxy survives. Above Relora, the battle neared its end. Alien ships burned, their dreadnoughts shattered, their commanders silent. The human fleet pressed forward, relentless, unstoppable. The clash of titans was over, and the titans were human. But as the last alien vessel broke apart in the void, one question echoed in every mind. If humanity could destroy such a fleet with ease, what would happen if one day they turned that power against the galaxy itself? The battlefield above Relora was silent now. Silent but not peaceful. Wreckage drifted across the stars, broken bodies of ships glowing faintly as they cooled. Once, the alien fleet had been a storm that made the galaxy tremble. Now it was nothing but scattered bones in the void. The people of Relora looked up at the night sky. For weeks, they had lived in terror, waiting for fire to fall on their cities. But now the fire had burned itself out. The skies belonged to Earth. In the council chamber, no one cheered. No one celebrated. Victory had come, yes, but it carried a weight heavier than defeat. Delegates stared at the display screens, where human ships floated like shadows over the ruined battlefield. Their guns were silent, yet they looked more threatening than ever. The Orphan delegate broke the silence first, his feathers shaking. It is over. The invaders are destroyed. No, the Koresh ambassador said, his eyes narrow. It is not over. It has only begun. The others turned to him, confused, afraid. Do you not see? He asked quietly. Humanity has shown its hand. They are not saviors. They are conquerors who simply chose the right enemy this time. Look at how they fight. Look at how they leave nothing behind but ashes. The chamber fell into silence again. Each delegate knew the truth of his words, though none wanted to say it aloud. Above Relora, the human fleet did not leave. Instead, they spread out in perfect formation, scanning every corner of space. Boarding teams were still inside captured alien dreadnoughts. Reports began to reach the council. Human soldiers were not just killing enemy officers. They were taking them alive. Why take prisoners? One delegate asked nervously. What do they want with them? The answer came soon enough. A transmission from Earth Command reached the council chamber. The voice was deep, calm, and steady. It did not ask for thanks. It did not offer comfort. It spoke only of strategy. We have secured several enemy commanders, the voice said. They will tell us where the rest of their fleets hide. This war is not finished. This was only their first strike. We will hunt the rest down. Do not interfere. The words echoed in the chamber. Do not interfere. Some delegates looked at each other in fear. They had begged for Earth's help. Now Earth was giving orders. Humanity was not asking permission. Humanity was declaring control. On Relora's surface, survivors gathered in the ruins of their cities. They sang songs of thanks to the humans who had saved them, but even among them, whispers grew. Soldiers spoke of human marines in black armor, their faces hidden, their movements cold and mechanical. Civilians spoke of the silence in human eyes when they passed by. These were not rescuers. These were weapons given flesh. A Reloran general met with one of the human commanders. The general tried to thank him, his voice breaking with emotion. The human only nodded and said, "We are not here for thanks. We are here to end this." Then he turned away. In the council chamber, arguments began to rise. "They are too dangerous," one delegate cried. "We cannot allow Earth to take control of this war. Do you want to stop them?" The Koresh ambassador asked coldly. "Do you think you can stop them?" The delegate fell silent. None could answer, because the truth was clear. One fleet had destroyed them all, but Earth had destroyed that fleet in hours. If the humans turned their eyes toward the council itself, who could resist them? The council leader stood slowly. His face was pale, his voice heavy. "We must tread carefully. Humanity may have saved us today, but tomorrow we may be the ones standing in their path." Above Relora, the human flagship loomed, its black surface reflecting nothing, its weapons still glowing faintly. To the people below, it was a symbol of salvation. To the council, it was a shadow stretching across the galaxy. The turning point had come. The invincible fleet of the enemy was broken. But the galaxy understood a deeper truth. The most dangerous army was not the one that had attacked them. It was the one that had saved them. The battle was over, but the silence that followed was heavier than the noise of war. Relora was saved, but it was no longer the shining world it had been. Smoke rose from its cities. Oceans were scarred with black fire. Families searched for the missing. Soldiers buried their dead. The people looked up at the sky, where the human fleet still hovered, silent and dark. The council chamber was no different. Delegates sat in their seats, exhausted and pale. None of them spoke of victory. None of them smiled. They had been rescued, yes, but the cost of that rescue still weighed on their minds. A new transmission from Earth Command filled the hall. The voice was steady, almost cold. "The enemy fleet is destroyed. Their commanders are in our custody. We will extract the locations of their remaining forces. Humanity will move against them. This war will end, one way or another." The words carried no comfort. They carried orders. The council had asked for help, but now Earth was leading the war on its own terms. Some delegates cheered. They believed the humans would save the galaxy, just as they had saved Relora. But others whispered to one another in fear. "They speak as if this war belongs to them," said the Orishar delegate, his feathers trembling. "Not to us, to them." The Koresh ambassador only nodded. "It always did. The moment we called for Earth, we gave the war to them, and they will not give it back." Outside, the galaxy was already changing. Refugees on council worlds sang praises to humanity. Traders whispered of the human fleet's power. Soldiers told stories of marines who moved like shadows and ships that fired weapons no one else could understand. But in those same whispers was fear. People asked what would happen when the invaders were gone. Would Earth go back to its silence? Or would it keep its army in the stars, watching, waiting, judging? On Relora, a boy stood on the ruins of his home and stared at the human flagship above. His father laid a hand on his shoulder and whispered, "They saved us, son. Never forget that." But the boy only asked, "Who will save us if one day they turn against us?" In the council chamber, a heated debate broke out. "We must thank Earth," shouted one delegate. "We must offer alliance, trade, friendship, anything to keep them close." "No," another argued. "If we grow close, they will control us. If we resist, they will crush us. The only safety is distance." The council leader, weary and old, raised his hand. The chamber quieted. His voice was low but heavy with truth. Earth has given us life, but life given by such a hand can be taken just as easily. Remember that. Today they fight for us. Tomorrow who can say? His words echoed in the silence. Above Relora, the human fleet began to move. Not toward the Council worlds, not toward Earth, but outward, toward the dark corners of the galaxy where the enemy still hid. They moved like predators on the hunt, relentless and sure. No one doubted that the invaders would fall, one fleet after another. Humanity would not stop until every trace of the enemy was erased. But the Council delegates could not shake their fear, because when the enemy was gone, only one unstoppable force would remain: the dangerous army of Earth. On Relora's surface, survivors gathered in the streets to watch the human ships leave orbit. Some cheered, some wept, some stayed silent, unable to decide whether they had witnessed salvation or the beginning of a darker age. In the Council's private chambers, the Koresh ambassador spoke the words that many feared to say aloud. One fleet made us tremble, but Earth's army, Earth itself, has made the whole galaxy tremble. And perhaps that was always their intention. The Council leader closed his eyes, his voice a whisper. Pray that their shadow always falls on our enemies, and never on us. As the human fleet vanished into the stars, chasing the war deeper into the void, the galaxy was left with a truth it could not escape. The invaders had been terrifying, but Earth was far more terrifying still.